That's Big Lotto trying to trick me into. You're working for Big Lotto.
I may or may not be.
He's working for Big Lotto, folks. Don't trust anything this guy says.
You want to win some money?
Hello, welcome to the 200th episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Man, this one snuck up on us, I feel like.
It did. This got really quick.
I feel like I was a little bit more prepped for the 100, and we did a little bit more fun stuff there. I don't know if this one's going to be as fun, but it's still a pretty big milestone. This is still
It's a
pretty
big
cool.
milestone. It's a big, huge milestone.
6 years later, 200 episodes. Here we are still talking movies. It made me think, kind of the origin of this and everything. This whole thing started. This whole shindig started because one day I walked in the office and you're like, hey, we should do a movie thing. I was like, well, I did this one thing in St. Cloud for like an episode, but I didn't really like it. I didn't feel it. It didn't fit the vibe. It needed someone else.
Yep.
You were that missing piece, and here we are. And I'm wishing someone else had asked me to do a movie podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm just kidding you here. But yeah, 200 episodes of PBL here. So
we've made it longer than some syndicated TV shows.
Yes, but they have to rely on like funding and stuff like that.
That's
We
true.
just kind of do this for funsies.
That's true.
I mean, if you want to fund us, let us know. We'll figure something out there then, I suppose. But we'll call it the Dollhoff donation or something like that.
Ooh, Dollhoff. I like that.
And Meyerberg money.
Meyerberg.
That's the fund there. There we go.
And the Foltz Fund.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Foltz Fund. Yeah, that's a good one.
All of them good.
All of them good
foundations. All coming to a charity near you sometime soon.
Yeah, go fund me.
Yeah, exactly. But for today's opening spotlight, we're not going to do necessarily a typical opening spotlight. Since this is a special episode, 200th episode, we're here to announce that we are going to do something a little fun here, something a little bit more challenging for us. Each of us have been working for the last month here, I would say, on our top 100 favorite movies list. In case people out there were curious, and now we'll have it available for people to check out.
Yep.
If you take both of our lists combined, that equals 200.
200.
Hence the little tie-in there. That was the point of that. So since we're not going to have time to go over the full 100 here. Let's be
not today
honest.
at least.
But we do want to give you a little tease to that. So each of us are going to give our top 5 favorite movies of all time at the time of this recording. Because if we were to do this next year, it might be different. It might be the same.
If we did this a week from now, I think mine would be slightly different.
But I feel confident in saying my top 5 at least is probably going to be pretty solid here. So that's why we're going to keep it to a nice tight 5. And then if you want to see our full 100 lists, we'll be posting that to our Facebook pages, I believe our Instagram page here on Omni Entertainment, as well as a little website that I keep track of a lot of this stuff is where I do a lot of my movie rankings, Letterboxd. All those links are in the description down below here in the YouTube video. So if you want to check those out, see what our top 200 favorite movies of all time are, there's a few options for you to check that out. But today, we're just going to do a top 5.
Yep.
Just the top of the charts here, so to speak. And let's just get right into it here. Number 5. What do you got here for your number 5 pick?
So for my number 5 pick, I kind of went... This movie I grew up with as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. I'm going with the movie Lloyd. It is a cheap, funny, weird comedy about a loser kid and his friend, and they get kind of surviving, I would say, middle school. I don't even think it's high school yet.
No, it's definitely middle school.
The vibe, because did we watch it? Did I show you this?
I'm pretty sure, because I was joking beforehand. I was looking at your list and like, oh, you forced me to watch 2 of these movies. I shouldn't say forced. I believe it was during one of the years of Sounds of Summer where we were working, where I was with you guys like all day.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of a lull before the parade and we watched it. And I was like, okay, this might be a good movie to just kind of cool the jets down a little bit. I had no idea, no investment, whatever. And I was pleasantly surprised with this one.
Yeah,
this was pretty funny.
For almost like a kid's movie that's kind of deals with all of that stuff. And I would say in the days before technology. Like, I absolutely loved this. I saw this when I was a kid. I thought Lloyd was cool. He overcame a bunch of things. Some of these kids, you'll see them in like The Little Giants or some of those movies. But just some great one-liners and some iconic things. And I think if it were to like all of a sudden like hit the mainstream or like somebody put it on TikTok or parts of it, I think this movie would blow up.
I do not disagree with that statement, actually. Thinking of a few of the moments, especially, too, I was like, yeah, I can make a reel out of that moment. I could make a reel out of that moment. Yeah, interesting pick there for sure. My number 5, kind of similar, something that I grew up with childhood and everything like that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Toy Story 2. I'm going to throw that in my top 5 here. I mean, Pixar revolutionized the game with the first one, obviously, but Toy Story 2, the animation was better, the comedy was better. I mean, the story I feel like was a little bit better because when you look at the first Toy Story, which I love, at the end of the day, our protagonist is pretty jealous throughout a vast majority of that movie. He's not really the good guy here. But here you have kind of a different sort of scenario where it's like, okay, is Woody doing the right or wrong thing? Well, that's actually a little bit more debated here. I think there's a little bit more nuance to it and all that. Plus that Jessie scene where she sings about, when somebody loved me. I mean, 20 years later after I saw the movie, I'm almost tearing up just thinking about that thing now. Toy Story 2, one of my favorites, made me fall in love with Buzz Lightyear, especially that opening scene. That's why we got a little Buzz here.
Buzz out there.
And that is one of like 20 different Buzz Lightyear action figures I have.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Okay, maybe not 20. At least 10.
18.
At least 10. At least 10 that have survived, I think, all my years and everything like that. So, Toy Story 2, that's going to be my number 5.
Nice.
Let's move on to number 4, favorite of all time. I feel like I should have said this actually beforehand, too. We are saying specifically favorite. These are we're not saying best of all time. These are our favorites.
Yes. Yep.
Because I think I've said this before. I just want to clarify it once again. I think coming up with a best list and a favorite list are two wildly different lists.
Vastly different.
And it's so hard to do best lists when you're looking at all movies of all time. Mm-hmm. I can't compare Toy Story 2 to Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Because what made those movies great are totally separate aspects.
I agree 100%.
So I just wanted to clarify that once again. These are our favorites.
Yep.
These are the ones we love the most.
And I also think, too, there's something to be said. Like, for example, Shawshank Redemption. Every time it's on TV, I'm going to stop and watch it, or like I'll have it on while whatever I'm doing. And it might be one of my favorite films to watch when it's on, but that doesn't mean it's in my top favorite films of all time. But it's one of those where the rewatchability is great and I'll do it all the time. But I have some films on here that I've only I'll watch once every 3 years, but they're still one of my favorite films.
Yeah. Yeah, same here, I'd say. But, so now that we got that out of the way, I probably should have said that earlier. I forgot to put that in my notes.
That's all right.
Let's move on to number 4 here. What is your pick?
So I'm a huge fan of old silent films. Those that know me can say I do watch Turner Classic Movies a lot. I do watch black and white movies, and I watch silent films. And one of the ones, like, no shade to Charlie Chaplin and all of his Modern Times and the Circus and all of the, like, they're on my list for my top 100, but from the silent films, I'm going to have to go with The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. This is a 1920 German expressionist film, and it tells the story. I would say this might be the first movie that has a plot twist in it, and I would say it is one of the first, like, scary movies that is meant to be scary. It involves a doctor and almost like a magician, and it turns out he may or may not be part of an insane asylum, and it's absolutely beautiful. It looks amazing, and, like, you think about the 1920s, there wasn't a lot of that technology around. So all of these scenes, like, they might have, like, a 50-foot, like, roadway, but it's actually, like, 4 feet, and then it's painted kind of like Wizard of Oz. Everything's painted, and it is absolutely just a beautiful film. And the story is great. It's easy to follow. It's easy to understand. And that's one that I will always cherish, because I remember the first time I watched it at my house. It was like 2:00 in the morning, and I saw that it was coming on, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna stay up and watch this, and it was wonderful. And I've seen it probably 4 times now. It's great.
Good. That's a good deep cut there, I feel like. The other reason why I wanted to make sure we kind of said that these are some of our favorites, because I don't know if mine are going to be as deep cut here. These are pretty these are pretty popularistic movies here. I'm not going to break any ground here like that one is. That was a pretty good pick there, I think. So for my number 4, I'm going to talk a little bit about Empire Strikes Back. Still to this day, my favorite Star Wars movie. I know there's more love for the prequels these days. I respect that. I get it. To me, Empire will forever and always be the best Star Wars for sure. But it is also one of my favorite sci-fi movies because, you had the introduction of a lot of these great characters. You had a lot of the introduction to the Force a little bit more. Yes, we had heard about it. We had seen it in action, the first one. But here, I think really laid the groundwork for a lot of the future films as far as how to kind of explain the Force and what it can do, what it can't do, all that sort of stuff. And also, I love the Yoda scenes. I mean, I just love him as a puppet specifically.
Puppet Yoda
is so great. And if you need any more proof of that, they just released that Mandalorian Grogu trailer as well, where you got baby Grogu as a puppet too. And I'm like sitting here thinking like, it just wouldn't be the same CGI'd and everything.
Yeah, it would be vastly different.
It wouldn't look right overall. And so you have these great characters. Darth Vader really gets time to shine and everything like that. I think because I'd heard so much about Darth Vader. He's one of the darkest, most intimidating villains ever. And I think I saw the first Star Wars. I was like, I mean, yeah, he's kind of scary, but I don't know if I'd call him intimidating.
Yeah.
He gets blasted off to space and he just kind of floats, flings away. Like, he gets flown away like a bug on a windshield.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I'd call him scary. Here he gets a little bit scarier. So a lot of the stuff that we love about Star Wars kind of comes from this movie, and I think it's one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time, too. So
very good.
Let's move on to number 3. In most sports, this would be the podium level, getting in the top 3 here. So why don't you kick us off? What is your number 3 pick?
So with my number 3 pick, I'm going with a very modern movie, but the reason I'm going with this is I would say probably one of our favorite directors is Christopher Nolan. And I actually went and watched the film I'm talking about is Oppenheimer. I was able to go and watch it in the 70 millimeter IMAX, the way it was filmed, with the brand new special black and white IMAX film, which had never been black and white 70 millimeter IMAX film has never existed before. It's brand new. So I was able to go and watch it. The people always say the way the director intends you to watch the movies. And with this movie, I had first off, I love the story. The story was great. The acting was phenomenal. Cinematography was great. But this was one story that I actually I almost fell in love with the process and the machinery behind how it was made almost as much as I loved the movie. Coming from working in a movie theater for so long and doing reel-to-reel projection and learning how projectors work and actually operating them, I have a kind of a nostalgia, a love for that. And I've seen when Quentin Tarantino put out The Hateful Eight in 70 millimeter. I was fortunate enough to go up to the cities and watch it in a 70 millimeter theater and got it presented with the intermission and all of that, and it was cool. No trailers, no nothing. It was just the lights came down, you hear it roll up, see the light click, and you go. This was a very the whole experience of watching it, and I've seen it a handful of times since it's in smaller screens, and it's still great. But that initial scene and the initial watching it the way it was supposed to be was just amazing, and that will just forever be a special spot, especially if you've seen the movie. The scene where the bomb actually goes off, a little bit of a spoiler warning, the bomb goes off and then there's actually no sound. Phenomenal. Absolutely destroyed me. It was great.
I mean, if you were spoiled about the fact that the bomb goes off in that movie, I mean, you don't know history at that point. You just don't know. Yeah. You just don't know anything about the real world at that point. So I'm sorry, but not sorry if that was a spoiler to you.
And all of his techniques with the pacing and the sound design and everything was just wild.
So I find it interesting here. We didn't plan each other's, picks, but I will argue mine. Part of the reason why it's so high is also because I had an interesting theater experience with this a movie that came out before I was born, but I was lucky enough to see in the theater because they did a re-release, or whatever. Raiders of the Lost Ark. I had fallen in love with the character of Indiana Jones. I loved kind of historical treasure hunting kind of stuff. This was around the same time when I had watched, I guess, the first Indiana Jones movie, I think would have been about the same time National Treasure would have came out. And I fell in love with that movie, obviously, because, it was perfect for my age. You know, I was learning about American history and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, here's another adventurer, but it's like National Treasure, but he's got like a whip and he shoots a gun and he's like taking down Nazis. Like, this was the next best level for me. First of all, so
National Treasure, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it was the perfect integration into that. Yeah. It was like it was like National Treasure was like a soft opening for me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, now check this stuff out.
Yeah.
And so I loved those movies. I fell in love with them. I was still young enough to love Indiana Jones 4 because I didn't know any better. But anyway, so jump to how many years later, and this was my first year when I was in the University at St. Cloud, and they were doing like a 1 weekend each showing. First one was Raiders, and the next weekend they did Temple of Doom and all that. I did not have a lot of money as a college student. I was not very financially responsible. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I was like, I'm going to make sure I have enough money to see this movie. And despite the fact at that point I had seen it easily 20 times, maybe even 30 times before this, I watched it in the theaters like the first time I was seeing it all over again. It was so fun. It was so epic. And it reminded me all the work that Spielberg put into this and everything. And you talked a lot about, watching it the way the director intended. I feel like there are certain shots there, like the down angle up, shooting up hero shots, even around the villains and everything. It just has a little bit more of effect when you're in the theater, when you see that bigger screen. And it was like watching it for the first time and making me fall in love with it all over again. So, yeah, easily. It probably would have been in my top 10 already, but that experience put it in my top 5.
Yep. Very good.
So let's move on to number 2 here. And I'm honestly surprised this is not your number 1. So let's talk about it here. What's your number 2 pick? Yep.
So for my number 2 pick, it might be a controversial pick, actually. I am going with The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Remind me again, which one
is
that
the first one?
That's the first one?
That's the first one. And it might, if you were to ask me this next week, I might say Return of the King. But I absolutely loved these films when they first came out. I loved them when we got to see the director's cuts. I loved them every year. I watched them around usually Thanksgiving or Christmas time, somewhere in that fall, getting into Christmas time. And then whenever my kids are born and I'm taking care of them, I watch them because they're just the best. And I think it all stems from, I think Peter Jackson had a great love for the stories. I read The Hobbit in school, and I would say the Lord of the Rings films came out at a kind of a like early teenage years for me. So I was able to see them kind of the demographic audience. And I loved that. Yes, there's some CGI in there and some very early computer technology, but also a lot of things were practical, a lot of people, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And I also love the behind the scenes of everybody says, oh, he broke his toe when he kicked that helmet. And, this, everything about it. I eat it up. I love it. And especially the forced perspective of a majority of the film, like every shot that they have actual Frodo and Gandalf in, there's some sort of forced perspective there, and you can't tell. But then when you see the behind the scenes, and it's like, oh, that's so cool how they did that. That's awesome. And I'm a sucker for that stuff, and it's one of those films, like I said, I will watch it about once a year, but that's about it. But it is one of my top 5. And today, it is my number 2 pick.
Today, it's your number 2.
Today, it's my number 2 pick.
When we do our 500th episode, we'll revisit that, see if that's the same thing. My number 2 pick, it probably should be my number 1, but we'll talk about number 1 in here in a second. But my number 2, Back to the Future. I consider this to be I would also argue, if I were to come up with a best movie list, this would probably be high on my best ever movie list. I won't ever do that, but it would probably be up there. I think this is one of the perfect movies. Close to it, I should say. I don't think there's ever going to be such thing as a perfect movie. This is close to it. Because it's something somewhat relatable of this, like, wacky, okay, what would we do how would we react to if we were all of a sudden back in time with dealing with what our parents dealt with and all that sort of stuff, which I do think is kind of ironic because, parents are always kind of like, well, back in my day, we had to do this. It's like, well, part of me almost wants to go back in time to see if I could square up to that or whatever.
Yeah.
But also part of me likes my cell phone, so we don't need to do that. Michael J. Fox is perfect in this role. I mean, everyone is so perfectly cast in this role, I think. The character of Biff is a terrible person, but the actor doing him is a very good, terrible person, which is why I hate it when actors get crap of being like these terrible villains. Like people hate them in real life. I'm like, no, that's when you know they did their job right. Yeah. Like he's a bully, but he's considered to be like one of the greatest movie villains of all time. Yeah. And we're going up against like people with superpowers, gadgets, death rays, but you put him in that list most of the time and everything like that. I love the sci-fi element of it. I love how I kind of like it more when time travel isn't explained, how they do it. It's just kind of like, oh, I made the flux capacitor. That did it. Now we're going to put it in a car. A DeLorean of all things. Yeah. And people now recognize the DeLorean more for that than anything else.
100%.
100%. On top of that, I would say the characters are so great that, they introduced this idea of a sequel at the very end of the movie, something that wasn't as common in the 80s, especially compared to nowadays. But people waited 4 years for that sequel, and they still showed up for it. Yep. Remember, this movie came out in 1985. Back to the Future Part 2 didn't come out until 89.
That's a long time.
Nowadays, if you want to do these Part 1, Part 2s, which we're seeing more and more, it's like you got to get it out the next year. Yep. Could you imagine if Wicked ended and we knew it was a Part 1?
I had to wait
and we had to wait 4 years?
Yeah, that wouldn't.
You wouldn't have the interest anymore.
Yeah, that wouldn't fly.
People love Wicked, but I don't know if we...
Yeah.
Maybe
it would still be popular, but
it
wouldn't. The hype that you're about to see with Wicked coming up, it wouldn't be nearly as much as
exactly. So I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that we liked these characters, and if there's all this talk of doing reboots, maybe sequels, whatever. Obviously, I'd be against a reboot, but I mean, if you found some way to get these characters back, maybe, because I don't know. I like Doc and Marty. Yep. It's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. It's a fun time traveling movie, and really kind of made me fall in love with time travel, which is one of my favorite genres. And it's a movie I'd love to do someday. So
I know I'm not doing my top 5. Yeah. But Back to the Future would be my number 1.
Yeah. See, and because my number 1, it's not my number 1, but it should be my number 1.
It would 100% be my number 1. It would be my number 1.
And with that, let's actually just move on to my number 1 because again, it's very, we don't want to end anticlimactically, and because I've said it's my number 1 probably how many times, I'm just going to go first on this one, and then I'll let you kind of take it away here. But yeah, it's The Dark Knight. I'm a Batman fan. That is a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong. But in case I haven't said this before, I'll say it again. This is the movie that made me start taking movies seriously. Is probably the best way I can put this. I did not see this movie in the theaters. I didn't even see it first time fully on DVD.
Are you talking The Dark Knight?
Yeah, the second of the Nolan trilogy. Yeah. Okay. I did not see this movie on DVD. First time I saw it was on TNT with commercials and having to fast forward through that. And like, I think my dad had recorded it because he wanted to see it. And then, I watched it one night while I was home alone. And I was like, wow, that was really good. And then I found myself watching it another night, despite the fact there were other things on. Things to watch. And I saw it like 3-4 times within like 2 weeks, I think. And that was the moment I was like, I've never really done this with a movie before, where I've just rewatched it right away. And then I started like, it just kind of made me think like, okay, I'm reacting to this movie differently than I usually would. So what does that mean? And then that's kind of when I really started falling in love with movies and started looking at them differently and started taking them seriously. Because remember, before this, I mean, yeah, we had Batman Begins. I think I had seen Batman Begins before this. Before this, my main source of Batman was Batman and Robin. Yeah. You don't take that movie seriously really, when you watch that, unfortunately. No. And so this is really kind of, I would argue, started me down this path a little bit here to where we are now. 200 episodes of PBL does not exist without The Dark Knight.
I could see that.
Me doing all this, working with you, talking with you, all this stuff does not happen without The Dark Knight. And part of me wonders where I'd be if I had seen it in the theaters when it came out at the time. But I would have been like 11 years old, so I don't know if I would have been let in or whatever. But it's a fun hypothetical. So, anyways, that's my number one. Now let's move on to your number one pick here. This episode. So
for this one, I've been racking my brain probably for hours at this point when I was coming up with this list because there's so many movies. Everybody knows I love 2001: A Space Odyssey. Everybody knows I love Quentin Tarantino. There's a lot of movies that could have made it to this spot and maybe on some days are in that spot. But I decided to go with Robert Eggers' The Northman. I love Northern, or like the whole folklore, Norse mythology. I love all of that. And this film had such a strong impact on me. It was beautifully shot. Once again, the acting was phenomenal. It's another tale of Macbeth. The actors give such powerful performances, and it has, in my opinion, the last probably like 30 minutes where Amleth is coming down the hill. If you see, I'm talking about where he's coming down the hill, that scene right there, and then their final battle scene, absolutely loved it. I love the myths and the stories and the legends and what are you going to do to protect your family and all of it. All in all, I just absolutely loved it. I did think it got snubbed, and I think a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are people that feel the same way. But this is probably, as of right now, I'm putting that as the top of my favorite movies.
Not that it's a competition, but out of our two movies, one of them did have Oscar winning. So just saying.
That's true.
Just saying. Anyways,
Lloyd might have been up for some Oscars. I don't know. I'll have to check.
You get back to me on that one. So, yeah, those are our top 5 movies of all time at the time of this recording, obviously. Yep. But we're curious. What are your top 5 favorite movies? Let us know in the comments down below. And once again, be on the lookout for our top 100 each lists, culminating in 200 of our favorite movies of all time. Again, we're going to be posting that on Facebook, Instagram, as well as our Letterboxd website. Links for all of those in the description down below. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall-Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall-Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. So head on over to the Marshall-Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! But that's enough talking about movies that have come out in the past. Let's talk about some ones coming out here in the future, or I guess technically depending on when you're watching or listening this, it could be the past.
Maybe you'll have to go back to the future.
I was gonna say time is weird, man.
Yep.
Time is weird. Anyways, yeah, it's time for the weekly preview here. Let's talk about all the movies coming out here this Friday, September 26th. Let's kick off with a real banger here. One Battle After Another. This one's coming straight to theaters, rated R. The latest from Paul Thomas Anderson. The story focuses on a group of revolutionaries who disband after one of their own is captured. However, they regroup after the daughter of that captured revolutionary is arrested. We talk about these group of revolutionaries. Let's talk about this cast. This is a stacked cast right here. Leonardo DiCaprio, Regina Hall, Sean Penn, and Benicio del Toro, just to name a few here. This looks really, really good.
Sean Penn looks jacked, too.
Yeah,
he looks scary.
I didn't even recognize that as Sean Penn at first.
Yeah, it's like, oh, wow, you're looking good, man.
Yeah, not bad. But this is not based on any sort of true story, but it is based on like a 1990s novel. However, from what I've read, they have kind of modernized certain aspects of this. I'm certain that's part of kind of the revolutionary part and everything. But yeah, a huge part of why these guys kind of decided to come back together is because the person that was arrested, they kind of feel like is kind of an innocent in all this. She was, just a baby when this was all happening way back in the day. So it's like, she didn't really have anything to do with this. You probably shouldn't have arrested her, man. That's not cool.
Yeah, I think it looks great. Leo looks like he's giving everybody looks like they're giving a great performance. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else really to say about this one. I mean, we're both really looking forward to this, obviously. So I don't know if there's really much more we can say about this.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson's good. Everyone looks good. I don't see this movie. I hate to say this because I feel like I'm gonna jinx it, but I'm trying to find out how could this movie be bad.
Yep.
All the pieces are there, right?
Yep.
So if this movie does end up being bad, you can blame me for that one. I jinxed it. Time of jinx, like 4:49. But let's move on to some other movies then here. Also coming out, Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie. This one's also coming to theaters. Based off a kid's TV show, Gabby loses her precious dollhouse to the creepiest of cat ladies, played by Kristen Wiig. Now Gabby and her grandmother must get the dollhouse back to save her little dollhouse friends.
Yep.
Apparently this is based off a kid's show. I've literally never heard of this show.
I've never heard of it either, but the animation looks kind of cool. So, like, I'm sure if my daughters want to see it, we'll go see it. I don't think they've ever watched the show, but I'll show them the trailer, and if they want to see it, we'll go. But I don't know.
See, and that's what I was most curious about was because, like, it's no surprise I haven't heard of it, but it's not like I'm completely immune to all kids shows stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I never watched Bluey, but I know of it.
Yeah.
Whereas with this one, I was like, I've literally never, I have no context with this. So I was kind of hoping you were going to fill in some blanks here for me.
Never heard of it.
But, that's interesting because I feel like when you make a movie about a kid's show like this, you're trying to do one of two things. One, you're either trying to bring new fans
those
in,
kids,
or you think there's enough fan base there to make a successful movie.
Yep.
I know they're working on a Bluey movie that's supposed to come out like next year. That'll probably do gangbusters and everything like that. But I don't know. Do we think this is going to bring in some new fan bases?
I'm sure it will, because you got to also, too, look at the market. There's not a lot of kids' movies out right now.
Speaking of kids' movies, you knocked down Buzz.
Yep.
You jerk.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
We got 18 more of you at home, so if you fall, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, just remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, as I was kind of watching this, I mentioned Kristen Wiig is in this. She's playing kind of this cat fanatic and everything. My theory is Kristen Wiig had so much fun playing the cheetah in that last Wonder Woman movie. She's now she's
playing
just
cat roles.
Yeah, she's just doing cat roles now at this point and everything. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to say she's giving it her all, but she's giving it something here.
She's. Yep, got nothing.
Okay, I thought you were leading up to
I was thinking about one, but got nothing.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say with this one here. I'll be curious to see how kids maybe show up for this one, because I'm trying to think, are there any other like kids movies out right now?
No,
that are big, or even ones that are sticking around. I feel like
so.
Not really. No. So this could fill a gap in the market here. Also coming out this weekend, The Strangers Chapter 2. A part of the Strangers trilogy, obviously. This looks to pick up essentially right off where the first one ended. The lone survivor of these attacks isn't out of the woods just yet, as she wakes up in the hospital and has to escape the strangers once again. Remind me, did you get a chance to see this one when it came out? I know for sure I did.
The Strangers?
The Strangers Chapter 1.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah. Because I was a little lost on this one here because I hadn't seen the first one. So because this one picks up right off after the first one.
Right after the first one.
You kind of have to see that first one to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So I was a little lost. So maybe we fill in a few blanks for me.
Basically, these people are at home. Some people knock on the door. They tell them to get lost or say like, oh, okay, yep, see you later. And then they come back with masks on and terrorize them and then kill everybody. Except not everybody.
Without spoiling it, does it give a motivation in that first one? Because the second one,
realistically, the only motivation is because they're at the house. They stopped by the house and they were there, so they went to go kill them. That's it.
Okay. Because the second one makes it seem like it's more of a pre-planned ritualistic thing.
Yeah, I think they're going to dive into this whole backstory, but that was the beauty of the first one. It was just, this couple was just at home Like, if right now this door comes in and 3 people do bad things to us,
well, first of all, I'm going to blame Carter for not warning us that they didn't, because you can see that door there. So
yeah.
Here's your warning, just in case something does happen, so it doesn't.
Well, no, you can't. You can't just.
I don't know. I can give you a warning for something to happen. What if something happens?
That's not how warnings work. I can't just say Lyon County's under a tornado warning right now and just assume that's going to take place whenever a tornado comes through here. That's not how that works.
Here's a warning.
No, that's okay. If we die, it's Carter's fault.
It's Carter's fault.
Just want that on the record here, I guess. So, yeah. All right. So yeah. First one left it pretty open-ended. Second one looks like it's gonna put in this whole backstory here, I guess. So, I will say there was one part in the trailer. I don't know if it showed it in yours, where like she's running away from one of the killers and he is full on sprinting at her. I feel like we don't see that enough in horror movies.
No.
Usually it's the slow Michael Myers walk. But he is dead on running.
Yeah, he's going.
So that actually kind of threw me for a loop there. That actually kind of made me feel a little creeped out with this one here. So, anything else you want to say about this one, Strangers Chapter 2?
Nope.
All right, then let's move on to last movie here to talk about this weekend. All of You, coming to Apple TV Plus, also rated R. I also found it very interesting. So this is the second week I've included runtimes in my outline. 3 of these movies have the exact same runtime.
Really?
What are the odds I'm going to get lucky like that ever again? Probably not. But it's weird that it happened in my second week.
Go buy a lottery ticket.
Well, no, because I hate it when people say that right after you had a lucky moment. Like, I just wasted the luck on this. Yeah. I'm not going to get lucky twice with the lottery ticket. That's going to be a waste of money.
Never know.
That's Big Lotto trying to trick me into. You're working for Big Lotto.
I may or may not be.
He's working for Big Lotto, folks. Don't trust anything this guy says.
You want to win some money?
Anyways, okay, so all of you, that's coming out to Apple TV Plus here. Not to be confused with the hit John Legend song that came out over a decade ago. This movie takes place in a not-too-distant future where a compatibility test can almost 100% match you with your soulmate. 2 lifelong friends, however, must fight their love for each other, even though one of them is matched with someone else. Starring Brett Goldstein and from the TV show Ted Lasso, obviously, so if you have Apple TV Plus, you probably recognize him.
Yep. As
well as Imogen Potts from, I best recognize her from Need for Speed. I'm pretty sure she's been in other things, but she's been in that as well. So, I don't know. What are our thoughts on this one here?
Blech.
Can you at least try to pretend you like a romantic comedy? Let's do a little challenge here. Yeah. Try and pretend you like this movie.
I think if you're a sappy person, you'll really like this. If you like the emotional connection between 2 characters who shouldn't like each other, but they end up falling in love. But one says, no, I can't do it. And the other says, let's try it anyways. And then they have to ruin another relationship to get together. That's what you're going to like, and you'll like this movie then. I think this is the future of dating, and I don't like it.
Hey, Ryan, for someone who, doesn't like romantic movies as much as you do, how did you survive Hallmark? How are you not dead?
I was working.
I know, but I wouldn't even want to work at one.
It's so, I was so far removed from the sappiness. I was just getting yelled at. So I
was going to say, for someone who hates these movies so much, you gave a pretty adept description, like you've seen every single one of them before.
I have seen every single one because I've seen one. So I've seen them all.
I agree with you, though, Ryan. Just I was,
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I will say I do, again, like the little bit of a tinge of sci-fi element to these. I mean, I kind of made that argument for Big Bold Beautiful Journey last week and everything like that. By the way, I think I figured out why that movie bombed, by the way.
Why?
Because that title is way too confusing to say. I feel like everyone went up to the box office and was like, Big, Beautiful, Bold. I mean, Big, Bold, Beautiful. Wait, Bold. Okay, just let me see him. I'm just going to go see him because that title was easier to say, I feel like.
Yeah.
I think that's why that movie bombed.
Him was good.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Well, I guess we won't really be able to compare it as much because, again, going to streaming here. But, I don't know. Apple TV Plus, just trying to get another movie out, I suppose.
Yeah.
So. Well, with that, let's wrap things up with some number 1 recommends here. Some things we've seen recently that we think everyone else should check out here. I believe I went first last week. So, Ryan, why don't you go first this week?
All right. I went and saw Him last week. I enjoyed it. Not very football-y movie. More of the occult and what would you sacrifice. how are you going to put your body on the line, tradition, history, very culty, very good, pretty good, bloody and scary. I enjoyed it. I like the movie a lot, but don't go in expecting like a more like football heavy movie with some cool, scary, culty stuff. No, don't. It's much more of the latter than the former.
Yep.
It's good.
Got it. You nailed it. So yeah, I unfortunately didn't get a chance to check out him with you guys this week, but I was trying to watch some other Monkey Paw production movies and everything like that. One of them, which that I did see, was Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. It's actually kind of a mockumentary about this pastor and his wife couple. You know, there's this whole allegation, there's this whole controversy. So now they're trying to rebuild their reputation, and they hire this documentary crew to film them in their sort of rise back up and everything like that. I think the best way I can kind of compare this movie to another thing to kind of get people interested in it is very much like The Office in that it is uncomfortable humor. There are moments when you're watching The Office where you're like, okay, I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because this is a very almost kind of tense moment where it's like, okay, things are not going the way they want it to, and we got people filming it. Mm-hmm. It is very, very much like this, but with some very good performances as well. Not that The Office doesn't have great performances, but you got Sterling K. Brown and all that, and he gives off some really good moments. And just overall, I think this is a really good movie. Like I said, has some very humorous moments, but also some very serious moments. I think there's a good balance of that overall. So, I think if you like movie or shows like The Office, I think you're going to like this as well.
Mm-hmm.
Basically. So
cool.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Once again, if you'd like to see both myself and Ryan's top 100 favorite movies lists, head on over to the website Letterboxd and search Popcorn Bucket List, or check out, again, the link in the description here, and or make sure you're following us on Facebook. And Instagram, will post it over there, too. And I don't know, maybe we'll figure out a way to put it on TikTok as well.
Oh, TikTok.
I'm not exactly sure how we do that because it's like a list, but we'll solve
figure it out.
We'll solve that later. So just follow us anyway because we do some pretty good reviews over there as well. And, before we really wrap up this one, I want to take a moment here to thank each and every one of you out there for watching this. You are what made 200 episodes possible. And before you're wondering, well, how do I make it possible? Well, you know, if there weren't people watching this, we probably wouldn't be doing this. Instead, we'd just, we'd sit down for an hour and just talk movies by ourselves and not go through this whole hoopla. But for some reason, you people are interested in what we have to say, and we do thank you for that.
We do.
And we've done it 200 times now, where we've sat down in this studio and talked movies. And, I'm curious there's no real end in sight to this. We're just going to keep doing it as long as it's fun, and you guys all have fun watching us. So let's shoot for 2,000 maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Just trying to find another 2 number, I suppose, there. I don't know. I don't know how far we're going to go with this, but as long as you guys are willing to jump on the ride with us, we'll keep doing it here.
We'll keep going. Thank
you for 200, and let's just keep on rolling with this train.
Keep rolling.
So for the 200th time, for myself, Ryan, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.